Hi, welcome to Blue Prism Tutorials. My name is Amir. In this session, we will learn about a feature called priority, which is offering by work queues. As we already know that work queues will work on the concept called first in, first out, FIFO. But there is some requirement where we need to process these records or cases based on the priority. Let me make you understand by giving an example. If you see on my screen, I'm having a banking sector over here where you are going to transfer the funds from one bank to another bank. They're the transaction types that we're having. One is IMPS, RTGS, and NIFT. These are all the three transaction types we'll see in our real-time scenario. But what is the mean of these three transaction types? Based on the customer requirement, so based on his priority, he wants to transfer the funds from one account to another account. So here is the priority will comes into picture. I want to process the records or the amount transfer based on the priority. Let's assume IMPS is major priority or NEFT is a major priority based on the priorities that we are going to transfer from one account to another account. In the same way, in our business scenario also, whereas in our we are having the student data based on the class that is 10th class, class 10th and class 7th, we have to process the records first and then we have to process the remaining records based on their priorities. In this session, that what we are going to do, we are going to prioritize the records based on their classes. If you see on my screen, I'm having class 10th and class 7th and other classes. What I'm going to do for the 10th class and the 7th class, that I'm going to put the priorities as 1 and 2, and the other that I'm going to put it as 3. So the priority will start with 0. 0 is nothing but the highest priority, which if we are not going to defining it by default, it will be 0. So they are the highest priority. Then it will go to 1, 2, and so on. In the same way, in our session also, what we are going to do, we are going to be prioritize the records for the first that we have to complete, not based on FIFO, that is first in first out, but we need to complete or we need to process these records based on the priority. Let me switch to Blue Prism Virtual Workforce. I'm going to work with the same process, student process. So before going to start this session with the priority, let me run in the fast mode. I want to show you something over here. Let me change the debug speed to fast. At the same time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open in the control room with the student marks queues. As of now that I'm going to clear the entire queue over here. The queue is clear. Now let me go back to my process. Let me run it. It reached the breakpoint. Now clicking on OK. Now let me go back to my control room and let me refresh it. If you see over here, the item keys, I'm having 10 different records in my database. If you see over here, each and every item is pending or the case is pending. But by default, if you see over here, the priority is 0 as I mentioned. Okay, so now if you see, if I'm not going to be mentioning any priority, by default it is 0 is the priority which I have told, and then it is working on the FIFO concept, first in, first out. If you see over here, 1, 2, 3, these are all the orders. And now if I run it, what will happen? It will complete all the records based on the first in, first out concept. But as I said, in this session that we are going to work based on the priority. Let me go to my database. Okay, I'm I'm in the database SQL Server Management Studio. I have selected all the record by using select star from DBO student marks. If you see, they're having 10 records over there in in the database table. Over there, I'm having 10th class with the student classes 10th, 7th, 8th, and 5th and 6th. What I have to do, I want to prioritize class 10th. First, I have to calculate the class 10th, and then I have to calculate the remaining classes 10th and 7th first. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to next 7th class, class 7th, and then goes on. Okay, these are all the records which we are having. Now let me go ahead, let me do the modifications over there in the Blue Prism. Let me go back to my process studio. Let me expand this. As of now that I'm going to stop this process. So to prioritize that, where I can do this action, where I can find this feature. If you see over here, add to queues, you will find that feature. Let me double click on the action called add to queues from results. Over here, you will find the feature called priority. In the priority base, if you see the data type number that we have to define 0, 1, 2, 3, and the numbers format. Okay, 0 is the highest priority, 1 is the priority, next priority, 2, 3, and goes on. Over here, we can give the priority, whatever the priority that we are going to give it, so that on it will work on that one. So what I'm going to do right now, I will show you in detailed process over here about the priority. Okay, if you see in this work queues that we are going to add in the queues format, if I go ahead and do that, how can I define this priority? How can I do that? If I go ahead, if you see in my control room again, okay, these are all the item keys having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? This is the order that I'm having. And the priority also is the same thing that what we are having in the number format. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the, unhappy path where we are going to get it, all the records as 1, 2, 3, or so on. Okay, now let me show you that. This is the unhappy path scenario, but for your understanding purpose, if we do in a such a way that we will get an errors or else that our priority will be changes. Okay, now let me go ahead. We are having the priority results, right? We are having the results dot id that I'm going to mention it. So what is my concept over here? What are the IDs that we got it in the results? In the same format, I need to get the result IDs. As I know this one won't work, but I want to show you over here how it is going to be working. Okay, now go ahead and let me click on OK, and I'm going to save it. I'm just saying result ID just for the time being, and I'm going to save the changes. Now let me go ahead, let me process it. Okay, field internal field ID does not exist. Okay, in our database, if you see, we don't have IDs. We have roll numbers, unfortunately, that have given the ID. Okay, let me go ahead. Let me change it to roll number. Okay, and then I'm going to click on OK. Let me reset it and let me process once again. It's reached the breakpoint over here. Let me go back to my control room. Let me go to my queues. Let me select that queue and let me refresh it. Now, if you see, add to queues that I'm going to add the queues, but if you see the priority I have given as result dot roll number, but we are having n number of roll numbers, but it's not taking the roll number which we have mentioned. The reason is that it will takes when you are going to mention in a such a way in the add to queues, okay, it will take the first roll number or the first ID which we have provided. So this is that's the reason it won't work it over here. Whenever you're going to be looping concept, we have to work on the looping concept. As of now, that what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the practice as of now over here, and I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to make some changes over here for the prioritize. So what I said, I need to set manually for the each and every class. Okay, let me do that. First of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to adjust these things to the left or to the bottom. So I'm going to delink these things. Don't mind, I will adjust all these things later on. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I want to first this whatever the items that you are going to, we are going to get only one item. So that what I have to do, I have to first calculate, first I need to use for loop for all these things. So I'm having the stage code, I'm dragging on to my canvas with the loop, and I'm going for the properties loop add to queues. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm not going to I'm not adding to the queues at a time, or I'm not adding all the records at a time. I'm going to add one by one queue, one by one record to the queue. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK. But what is the collection that we're going to go ahead and we're doing it? If you see over here, this is the results is the output that we're going to get it from the fetch DB, so that I'm going to use the same collection over here. Okay, let me drop down the loop add to queue, and if you can find it out results. Okay, what does this mean? This is the record, each and every record it is going to be fetching by using the loops, correct, from the results. Now what I'm going to do, I'm having the results in the results, but each and every result I have to get the unique single row that I need to get it. Right. For that purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use collection over here. Here I'm going to show you one more property. Let me double click on the collection. Each and every time I need to get only one record. Okay. only one record I need to get it, right? Over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, I'm just giving the name as single row add to queue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the fields over here. What is the first field? It is the name. This is same as it is the field that we are having for the results. Whatever the results that we have in the results collection, that the same columns or the fields that we are having. Now I'm going to take it the text and I'm going to say the description. Over here, if you see, I'm going to add roll number, and also this is also text. I can give it or the number. Okay, and I'm going to add the remaining columns, class, subjects, each and everything up to subjects that I'm going to adding it. We have added all the fields whichever we required from fetching from the results to we have to get it into the single row. Okay, I don't want to add all these things, right? What is the reason behind that? If you see in our previously that in the priorities it is adding the first record only, right? For that reason, what we have to do, we can see a property over here, we can see an option over here that is called single row. Okay, whenever you are going to add this into this collection single row to add to queue, then we are going to select this option called single row, and then I'm going to click on OK. Now, what happened whenever you are going to looping into that one, first we are going to insert the records into the single rows to add to queue. For that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use multi calculation stage over here. For the multi calculation stage, what I'm going to say, multi cal to add queue. I'm just giving the name to add queue. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, for each and every record that we are going to fetch it from the results, we have to store in somewhere else. So now going for the collection, if you see the results, we are having results or the results dot name. I'm going to store it somewhere in the thing. Where I am going to store it, if you see on my collections that we are having all these things, correct? So single row add to with the name. In the same way, I'm going to add the remaining fields over here. So I have mapped all the records which we are going to fetching from the results in the for loop that I'm going to insert into the single row, that is single row add to queue by each and everything, right? Now I'm going to click on OK. Now here is the priorities comes into picture, right? If you see, I want to set the priorities over here in the add to queue, but on what basis that I want to prioritize these records to add to queue? As I said, based on the class name, based on the class that I have to prioritize the records, right? To select the classes, that what I'm going to do, I'm going to use choice stage. I'm going to use choice stage over here. Over here in the choice that I'm going to double click on the choice properties. I'm saying choice class, and I'm going to give the expression over here from where I'm going to get this expression. So now if you see that I'm going to get the records into the single row add to queue. From there itself that we need to check the class name, right? If you see over here, I'm going to drag this option. I'm going to say the choice as a class. I'm just giving class 10th. Then what is the expression over here? Going for the collections, and I'm going to see over here if it is choice record single row add to queue class equal to class 10th. Okay, then I'm going to adding the priorities over there in a such a way that I'm going to add the priorities. If you see if it is the class 10, then I'm going to add to the priorities. Okay, and now in the same way I'm going to add it class 7, I'm going to add one more priority. I'm just copying these things to 7. This is class equal to 7. And after that, class 8, I'm going to simply saying as priority as 3. And I'm going to selecting only few of the classes as of now. Now, if you go ahead and you can find it with 3 dots out here. Now I'm going to add from each and every particular class. I'm going to add to the queues. Okay. Now I will show you over here also a simple concept over here. But for the time being, what I'm going to do, I'm going to adding all the queues. Now, let me link this from time now to this is the time now that we have looking for the differ until. Don't mind with this one as of now. Loop add to queues to multicalc, multicalc to choice, and choice to add to queues. If you see over here, this is for the class 10th, and also if you're going for the add to queues from class 8, and after that, I forgot to add one more add to queue for otherwise, and I'm going to linking from otherwise to add to queues. Okay, and I'm going to using the anchors over here for the end of the loop. Let me link them from loop. Okay, that we got it right now, right? Let me rearrange them. Now we are linking from loop to add to queue. And now we have to set the priorities, correct? So how can we set the priorities? For class 10th, I am going for the add to queues and I'm going to set the priority as 1. And for the class 7, I'm going to add the priorities as 2. And class 8 that I'm going to give it the priority as 3. And also for other classes that I'm going to give it the as priority as 3 itself. Okay, these are the 3 priorities that we have mentioned. Now let me go ahead, let me click on OK. Now over here, I will show you one more error. It's not the error, it's over there that how the data is going to be running over here. Let me reset it. Let me run it. It's reached our breakpoint. Now let me go ahead to control room. Let me refresh it first. Okay, now if you see the priorities has been added 3, 2, 1, that what we got it. But if you closely observe over here, I got it for each and every priority that I got 10 records over there. But I'm having only 10 records, but for each and every priority that I got multiple records. What is the reason behind that? If you observe in the add to queues over there, let me go to my process again. If you see over here, so we are going to give our results over here. The data collection that we have given as results, because of the results is consisting of 10 records and each and every record going through the 10 times and each and every process is going to 10 times, right? The priority it is going for the 10 times. That's the reason that we got it the results as 10 times. Okay, that's the reason we have got these many records as of now in the control room in the queues that you can observe all these things over there, right? Now let me go ahead, let me clear all these things. So what we have to do, we have to add a single row over here. So what is the collection that we are having? If you see over here, single row add to queue that I'm going to drag and drop into the particular queue, so that what will happen over there, it will add the single rows each and every time it is going to fetching the records. Okay, now I'm going to make these changes when I'm going to add it, add to queue, and each and every add to queue that I'm going to drag and dropping into the single queues. And after that, for each and every attribute that have prioritized, and we have given the data as single row. Now let me go ahead, let me click on OK. Now what I'm going to do for the time being, I'm going to clear all these things. Now the queue is empty. So let me go ahead, let me run once again. Let me reset it, let me run once again. Now we reached our breakpoint over here. Now let me go to control room and let me see the queues are getting as we expected. Now if you see, so we are having 10 records for each and every record that we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the priority that what we are having. Correct? The item queues for each and every item key that we have given the uh, roll number over there, correct? For each and every roll number that what we got it, all these things. Now we got in priority wise. Now let me go ahead, let me run to the next level. Okay, so over here that I'm going to proceeding further, which item that I'm going to get it, on which priority that I am going to get. If you see in my control room, that all are in the pending status, but which one it will pick it up first? What are the priority that is one is there that it is going to be picking up one, and then two, and then three. Let me go ahead, let me run it, each and everything one by one. It's processed the first record. Let me go ahead, let me refresh it. If you see, first item with the priority 1 has been completed. Now if you go to 2, roll number 2, this is first in first out concept, but still based on the priority we are having 3 and 5. Let me check it out, it is going to fetching that records or not. Now again we reached our breakpoint. Let me go to control room once again, let me refresh it. Now there's an exception, but still, if you see over here, the priority is 1. That's the reason the roll number 3 that has got the prioritize, and then it is going on further proceeding. And I'm going to remove the breakpoint over here as of now. Okay, now we'll put a full control on the control room. Let me go ahead and let me run it. Let me go to my control room. Let me refresh every time. You can see the 3 has been completed and the 5 has been completed. Now it will pick up the row priority 2. Now you can see the priority 2 already picked out. Now 3 is prioritizing because of you can find the logs over here. Okay. Now let me go ahead. Let me refresh it again. If you see, all the 10 records has been completed successfully, and this is based on the priority that it is going to be fetching the records. Let me explain the priority feature once again. As part of this session that we are going to add the priorities to the queues while inserting the data into the queues. How we are going to do that? Once we have fetched the data from the DB, we are going through the loop stage, and then I'm going to calculate the calculating and adding to the queues by single row add to queue. This is nothing but a collection having a single row only, and then based we are going through the choice. Based on the choice that we are going to get it in the single row, if it is a class of 10, 7 and 8, based on the priorities we are going to inserting the data into add to the queues, or we are adding to the queues. So it is going on through the looping structure. How many records do we have? Then it will goes to loop, and finally we are going to the next items. So based on the items that have added to the queues, we are going to the get next items. At the priority that we are going to 0, 1, 2 and goes on based on the priorities, it will pick up the records as we've seen in the control room. If you see, these are all the priorities that what we got it in the process. So that the first process, first priority 1, it will first completes the items, and then it will goes to second, and then it will goes to third, and so on. Now you can see the completed items. Based on this, you will find the completed date and time over here, so that you can easily identify which one has been picked first and completed first. I hope you understand about the priorities in this session. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any queries related to this concept, please post them in the comment section.